The foreigner sat back on the bench and asked, even with a slight shriek of curiosity, "You are atheists?" "Yes, we're atheists," Böhler smilingly replied. And homeless, Bisdomny, thought, getting angry, "Latched on to us, the foreigner goose." "Oh, how lovely!" the astonishing foreigner cried out and began swiveling his head, looking from one writer to the other. "In our country, atheism does not surprise anyone," Böhler said with diplomatic politeness. "The majority of our population consciously and long ago ceased believing in the fairy tales about God." Here the foreigner pulled the falling slant. He got up and shook the amazed editor's hand, accompanying it with these words: "Allow me to thank you with all my heart." "What are you thanking him for?" Homeless inquired, blinking. "For some very important information, which is of great interest to me as a traveler," the outlandish fellow explained, raising his finger significantly. The important information apparently had indeed produced a strong impression on the traveler, because he passed his frightened glance over the buildings as if afraid of seeing an atheist in every window. "No, he's not an Englishman," thought Böhler, and homeless Bisdomny thought, "Where'd he pick up his Russian? That's interesting thing," and frowned again. "But allow me to ask you," the foreigner visitor spoke after some anxious reflection, "what then about the proofs of God's existence, of which, as is known, there are exactly 5? "Alice," Böhler said with regret, "no one of these proofs is worth anything, and mankind shelved them long ago. You must agree that in the realm of reason there can be no proof of God's existence." "Bravo!" cried the foreigner. "Bravo! You have perfectly repeated restless old Emmanuel's thought in this regard. But here is the hitch. He roundly demolished all 5 proofs, and then, as if mocking himself, constructed a 6th of his own." "Kant's proof," the learned editor objected with a subtle smile, "is equally unconvincing. Not for nothing did Schiller say that the Kantian reasoning of this question can satisfy only slaves, and Strauss simply laughed at this proof." Böhler spoke, thinking all the while, "But anyhow, who is he? And why does he speak Russian so well?" "They ought to take this Kant and give him a 3-year stretch in Solovki for such proofs." Ivan Nikolaevich plummed quite unexpectedly. "Ivan!" Böhler whispered, embarrassed. But the suggestion of sending Kant to Solovki not only did not shock the foreigner, but even sent him into raptures. "Precisely, precisely!" he cried, and his green left eye, turned to Böhler's, flashed. "Just the place for him! Didn't I tell him that time at breakfast? As you will, Professor, but what you've thought up doesn't hang together. It's clever, maybe, but mighty unclear. You'll be laughed at it." Böhler goggled his eyes. "At breakfast? To Kant? What is this drivel?" he thought. "But," the outlander went on, unembarrassed by Böhler's amazement, and addressing the poet, "sending him to Solovki is unfeasible, for the simple reason that he has been abiding for over 100 years now in place considerably more remote than Solovki, and to extract him from there is in no way possible, I assure you." "Too bad," the feisty poet responded. "Yes, too bad," the stranger agreed, his eye flashing, and went on. But there is a question that is troubling me. If there is no God, then one may ask, who governs human life and in general the whole order of things on earth? Man governs it himself. Holmes angrily hastened to reply to this admittedly none too clear question. Pardon me? The stranger responded gently. But in order to govern, one needs, after all, to have a precise plan for certain, at least somewhat decent lengths of time. Allow to ask you then, how man can govern if he is not only deprived of the opportunity of making a plan for at least some ridiculously short period? Well, say 1,000 years, but cannot even vouch for his own tomorrow. And in fact, here the stranger turned to Bерлiozу. Imagine that you, for instance, start governing, giving orders to others and yourself generally.